You are asking the wrong question. You keep asking how to make her afraid of losing you, how to stay on her mind, how to become more attractive than every man she might meet after you, how to make her compare everyone to you and realize that nobody can replace what you gave her. But the man who becomes unforgettable does not spend his life trying to be unforgettable. He does not perform for attention. He does not create jealousy. He does not disappear just to make a woman panic. He does not become cold because somebody told him kindness makes men weak. He builds a life, character, and presence so complete that being with him feels different. Not perfect different. She feels understood without being controlled. She feels wanted without being worshipped. She feels supported without becoming the center of his entire identity. She experiences warmth, honesty, standards, direction, and emotional stability in the same man. That combination is difficult to replace. But before we continue, hear the truth. No person is literally irreplaceable. She can leave. She can meet someone else. She can choose a different future. You cannot guarantee that a woman will remain attached to you forever, trying to become impossible to replace, can turn love into an anxious competition. You begin measuring yourself against every man she might meet. You start performing instead of connecting. You become obsessed with preventing loss instead of creating something healthy. That is not strength. The goal is not to become a man she is incapable of leaving. The goal is to become a man whose character, presence, and value are not easily duplicated and who remains complete even when someone chooses to walk away. That is the man who leaves an impact. And before this video ends, you will understand exactly what makes a man emotionally memorable, why trying too hard usually makes him easier to take for granted, and the 7 day reset that begins rebuilding the qualities women respect long after attraction has become familiar. You will also understand the mistake men make when a woman finally recognizes their value. It is the mistake that destroys the very qualities that made her reconsider them. The first thing you must become is a man with a life that does not collapse around a woman. A man becomes easy to replace when he enters a relationship and slowly removes every other source of meaning. He stops training, he neglects his work. He becomes less ambitious. He sees his friends less. He abandons his routines. Every free hour becomes hers. Every emotional need is placed inside the relationship. Every good day depends on her attention. Every bad day becomes her responsibility to repair. At first, she may enjoy being wanted so deeply. She may appreciate the messages, availability, affection, and constant reassurance. But eventually, something changes. The man she originally met begins disappearing. She met someone with direction. Now his direction is her. She met someone with confidence. Now his confidence depends on whether she is warm. She met someone with a full life. Now his life waits for her replies. This creates pressure because when your entire emotional world depends on someone, they can feel the weight of carrying it. Your attention stops feeling like a gift, it starts feeling like a responsibility. Your affection stops feeling freely chosen. It begins asking for reassurance in return. Your loyalty stops feeling grounded. It begins feeling afraid. A memorable man does not need to pretend he has no feelings. He can love deeply. He can communicate openly. He can make time for a relationship, but he never removes the foundation beneath his own feet. He keeps building. He keeps learning. He protects his health. He remains connected to his principles. He maintains meaningful responsibilities. He gives a woman an important place in his life without making her the entire structure. That makes his presence feel safer because she is not responsible for creating his identity. He already has one. Suppose she becomes busy for a few days. The dependent man immediately feels abandoned. His work suffers. He checks the phone repeatedly. He sends another message because the first one did not receive enough warmth. He asks whether something is wrong. She says she is tired. He does not believe her. He continues questioning until an ordinary busy week becomes relationship tension. The grounded man notices the change. He may ask once, "You seem more occupied than usual. Everything okay?" If she says she is handling something, he listens. He does not interrogate. He gives her room. Then he returns to his responsibilities. He is emotionally available without becoming emotionally unstable. That balance is difficult to replace. The second quality is consistency. Many men believe they become unforgettable through one dramatic gesture, the expensive gift, the emotional speech, the surprise trip, the moment where they finally confess everything. Those moments can feel powerful, but trust is rarely created through one grand performance. It is created through what you repeatedly do. You say you will call, you make a plan, and you follow through. You tell her something matters to you, and your behavior supports it. You remain respectful when disappointed. You do not become cruel during conflict. You do not disappear every time vulnerability makes you uncomfortable. You do not create emotional chaos, then attempt to repair it with romance. Consistency makes a person feel safe. And emotional safety becomes memorable because it allows someone to stop guessing. She does not have to wonder which version of you will arrive today: the affectionate version, the distant version, the jealous version, the version who promised everything, the version who disappears. A man becomes hard to replace when his character remains stable across different emotional conditions. He does not treat her beautifully only when she behaves exactly as he wants. He remains respectful when frustrated. He remains honest when the truth is uncomfortable. He remains disciplined when nobody is applauding. He remains himself when attraction becomes familiar. This does not mean he becomes predictable in a boring way. He can be spontaneous, playful, adventurous, but his values are predictable. She knows he will not humiliate her in public. She knows he will communicate rather than punish. She knows his word has weight. She knows he does not create triangles for attention. She knows that when he says no, he means no. And when he says yes, he follows through. That reliability creates trust. Without trust, attraction becomes exhausting. With trust, attraction has room to deepen. The third quality is emotional steadiness, not emotional suppression, steadiness. Some men confuse strength with never expressing pain. They become silent, distant, difficult to read. They believe mystery creates value. But a relationship cannot become deep when one person remains emotionally unavailable. Other men move in the opposite direction. Every feeling becomes an emergency. Every disagreement becomes a crisis. Every delayed reply becomes rejection. Every period of distance creates panic. They express emotion, but without regulation, neither extreme creates lasting closeness. The unforgettable man can name what he feels without making another person responsible for fixing it. He can say, "That bothered me." He does not attack. He can say, "I felt disrespected when that happened." He does not threaten to leave. He can say, "I need time to think before we continue this conversation." He does not disappear for a week as punishment. He can hear criticism without immediately becoming defensive. He can apologize without feeling humiliated. He can remain calm enough to understand what is happening beneath the argument. That steadiness changes the emotional atmosphere around him. Imagine the two of you disagree about something important. She becomes frustrated. Her tone becomes sharp. The insecure man immediately matches the energy. He raises his voice. He interrupts. He reminds her of every previous mistake. The conflict becomes less about solving the issue and more about winning. The emotionally avoidant man shuts down completely. He refuses to speak. He leaves without explanation. He punishes her through distance. The steady man does something different. He slows the moment down. He says, "I want to understand this, but we are both becoming reactive. Let us take a little time and continue when we can speak respectfully." He does not abandon the conversation. He protects it from becoming destructive. Later, he returns. That final part matters. Many men ask for space, then use the space to escape accountability. The steady man returns because his word matters. A woman may meet many confident men. She may meet attractive men, successful men, entertaining men. But emotional steadiness is remembered because life eventually becomes difficult. Beauty cannot solve conflict. Money cannot create emotional safety by itself. Excitement cannot replace trust. When pressure arrives, character becomes visible. The fourth quality is the ability to make her feel understood without losing your own voice. There is a difference between listening and agreeing with everything. A weak man agrees because he fears conflict. A selfish man refuses to listen because he only values his own experience. A grounded man listens carefully, then speaks honestly. When she tells him about a difficult day, he does not immediately make the conversation about himself. He does not rush to give advice before understanding what she needs. He may ask, "Do you want help solving it, or do you just need me to listen?" That simple question creates connection. It tells her that her emotional experience matters. But he does not become her therapist, rescuer, or emotional dumping ground. If every conversation becomes one sided, he addresses it. He can say, I want to support you, but I also need space for what I am experiencing. Mutual understanding matters. Being memorable does not mean endlessly providing while receiving nothing. It means creating a relationship where both people feel seen. A woman remembers the man who noticed more than her appearance. He noticed the way she became quiet when overwhelmed. He remembered the goal she mentioned months earlier. He understood that sometimes her anger was covering disappointment. He paid attention to the person behind the performance. But he also expected the same attention in return. He did not disappear inside her emotional world. He remained present inside his own. That combination, empathy with self respect, is powerful because empathy without boundaries becomes exhaustion. Boundaries without empathy become coldness. The unforgettable man carries both. The fifth quality is direction. A woman may be attracted to your appearance. She may enjoy your humor. She may appreciate your kindness. But if your life has no movement, the relationship can begin feeling like your only ambition. Direct does not mean you must already be wealthy. It does not mean having every answer. It means you are moving deliberately. You know what kind of man you are becoming. You take responsibility for your future. You do not wait for motivation to rescue you. You create plans. You keep promises. You develop skills. You face difficult tasks. Your goals are not empty words repeated every January. Your schedule reflects what you claim matters. A man with direction carries energy. He does not need to announce that he is ambitious. His habits reveal it. He wakes with something to do. He protects time. He makes decisions according to long term values rather than temporary emotion. He does not cancel important responsibilities every time she becomes available, not because she is unimportant, because his future is important too. This teaches her that your time has meaning. It also protects the relationship from becoming stagnant. Two people need something to bring back into the connection, experiences, ideas, growth, stories. When your entire day is spent waiting for her, you bring nothing new. When you continue developing, the relationship continues meeting new versions of you. That does not mean constantly changing to keep her interested. It means refusing to stop living because you entered a relationship. The sixth quality is self respect. Self respect is often misunderstood. It is not arrogance, it is not controlling behavior, it is not refusing to compromise. It is not acting as though you are too valuable to care. Self respect means your desire for love does not override your standards. You can want her and still refuse disrespect. You can miss her and still refuse confusion. You can care about the relationship and still leave if the relationship repeatedly damages your dignity. You do not threaten boundaries, you live them. If she cancels repeatedly without communicating, you address it. I understand that things happen, but repeated last minute cancellations do not work for me. Then you observe behavior. You do not argue for hours. You do not beg her to value your time. If the pattern continues, you reduce your participation. That is a boundary. If she tells you she is uncertain and wants to explore other options, you do not volunteer to wait in the background. You can say, I respect your freedom, but I am not staying emotionally available while you decide between me and someone else. Then you step back, no threat, no revenge, no competition. Your standards are not designed to control her choices, they determine your choices. That is why self respect is memorable. Many people announce standards until attachment becomes strong. Then fear takes over. They accept what they said they never would. They remain in situations that make them smaller. They call it loyalty. But loyalty without reciprocity becomes self abandonment. A woman may forget many compliments. She will remember the man who cared but could still walk away from disrespect without cruelty, not because his absence manipulated her, because his standards were real. The seventh quality is honesty without unnecessary brutality. Some men lie to maintain attraction. They hide their intentions. They pretend to be less interested than they are. They create a false image of abundance. They make promises they cannot keep. Others use honesty as permission to become cruel. They insult, they criticize, they say, I am just being honest, after damaging someone unnecessarily. Neither creates trust. The memorable man tells the truth with care. If he wants a committed relationship, He does not pretend to want something casual. If he is not ready, he does not use affection to keep someone attached. If something bothers him, he addresses it before resentment becomes contempt. If he makes a mistake, he admits it without creating excuses. If he no longer wants the relationship, he communicates rather than slowly becoming cold and forcing the other person to end it. Honesty creates emotional clarity. And clarity is rare. Many connections are filled with guessing. What does he want? Why did his behavior change? Was that promise real? Is he speaking to someone else? Will he disappear when things become serious? When your words and behavior align, the relationship becomes easier to trust. That does not guarantee it lasts, but it makes your character difficult to dismiss. The eighth quality is affection without desperation. Women do not become more attached because you pretend not to care. Healthy attraction does not require emotional starvation. You can compliment her, plan meaningful time, express appreciation, affection, celebrate her success, tell her she matters, but the energy behind your affection matters. Are you giving because you genuinely appreciate her? Or because you are purchasing reassurance? Do you compliment her because you notice something meaningful or because you fear she will lose interest without constant validation? Do you make plans because you enjoy creating experiences together or because silence makes you anxious? Affection from security feels warm. Affection from fear feels heavy. The secure man can express love and still remain whole if the response is not immediate. He does not count every gesture. He does not secretly keep a record of what she owes him. He gives, but he also notices whether the relationship is reciprocal. He does not become the only person creating closeness. If she never initiates, never appreciates, and never contributes, he does not continue increasing his effort. He communicates, then he adjusts to reality. This protects his kindness from becoming weakness. The ninth quality is the ability to create shared meaning. An unforgettable relationship is not built only through attraction, it is built through a world two people create together. Private jokes, small rituals, meaningful conversations, shared goals. The way you support each other through important moments, the morning check in, the weekly walk, the place you visit when life becomes overwhelming, the question you always ask before sleep. These details may look ordinary, but ordinary consistency creates emotional depth. Anybody can create excitement for one evening. Depth is created by repeatedly showing up inside real life, but shared meaning must grow naturally. Do not manufacture memories to make yourself impossible to replace. Do not create a relationship strategy where every gesture is designed to remain in her mind. Be present, pay attention, participate fully. The more you try to control how she remembers you, the less genuine the moment becomes. A meaningful connection is a result of honest participation, not calculated emotional branding. The 10th quality is growth. Nobody wants to remain in a relationship where every year feels exactly the same. Not because constant excitement is necessary, because stagnation quietly weakens respect. Growth means you keep examining yourself. You notice where you become defensive, where insecurity controls you, where laziness has replaced discipline, where pride prevents apology, where fear prevents commitment, where your habits create the same conflict repeatedly. Then you work. Not because she threatened to leave, not because you want applause, because becoming better is part of your identity. A man becomes difficult to replace when the relationship does not have to drag him toward maturity. He leads his own development. He reads, reflects, accepts feedback, seeks help when necessary, builds emotional vocabulary, improves his health, learns to manage money, becomes more dependable, corrects his mistakes. He does not say, "This is just who I am," whenever change becomes uncomfortable. He understands that personality is not an excuse for harmful patterns, but growth does not mean becoming whatever she wants. You should not lose your principles trying to match another person's preference. Healthy growth brings you closer to your values. It does not remove your identity. Now, understand what makes all of these qualities powerful. They must be genuine. You cannot use consistency as a technique for a month, then become careless when she commits. You cannot practice emotional control only until she becomes attached. You cannot create goals only so she views you as ambitious. You cannot pretend to listen while waiting for your turn to speak. Temporary performance eventually becomes visible. The man she cannot easily replace is not playing a role. This is how he lives. And that is where most men fail. They improve only when they fear losing her. She pulls away, and suddenly they train. Suddenly they focus on work. Suddenly they communicate. Suddenly they promise discipline. Then she comes closer. Fear disappears. And the old version returns. That teaches her not to trust the transformation. Your change must survive reassurance. Your standards must remain after she chooses you. Your direction must continue after the relationship feels secure. Your effort should not depend on panic. Real character remains when there is no immediate threat of loss. Now, picture a man named Marcus. When he first meets a woman, he is confident, active, and focused. He trains 4 days each week. He is building a small business. He sees friends. He reads. He has plans. She's attracted to the energy around him. Then he becomes afraid of losing her. He starts canceling work to see her. He skips training when she wants attention. He replies immediately to every message, even during important responsibilities. He stops disagreeing. He becomes available all the time. At first, she enjoys the closeness. Then she begins feeling less attraction. Marcus notices. Instead of returning to himself, he gives even more messages, more reassurance, more availability. He believes effort will restore what effort helped weaken. Eventually, she says, "You are not the person I met." He feels confused. He changed because he cared, but he did not become more loving. He became less centered. There is a difference. Love adds someone to your strength. Fear makes you surrender your strength in exchange for closeness. Marcus does not need to become cold. He needs to become responsible for his life again. He returns to training, not to make her jealous. He protects work hours, not to punish her. He speaks honestly, not to control her. He stops needing constant reassurance, not because he no longer cares, because he understands that his identity cannot survive if it depends on another person's daily mood. This is how he becomes himself again. And whether the relationship survives or not, the transformation remains valuable. Now, here's the 7 day reset for 7 days. Stop trying to look irreplaceable. Stop posting for her reaction. Stop measuring yourself against other men. Stop sending unnecessary messages because silence makes you anxious. Stop canceling responsibilities whenever she becomes available. Stop agreeing with everything to avoid tension. Stop promising changes you have not begun building. For 7 days, rebuild the foundation. On the first day, examine your life honestly. Where did you become dependent? What routines disappeared? Which goals were neglected? What behavior are you tolerating because you fear loss? What behavior of your own would make a healthy relationship difficult? Write the answers. Do not blame her for everything. Do not blame yourself for everything. Look for truth. On the second day, rebuild your physical routine. Train, walk, eat properly, sleep at a reasonable time. Not because appearance alone makes you unforgettable, because physical discipline changes the way you trust yourself. Every completed action says, "My life remains under my leadership." On the third day, rebuild direction, choose one important work or financial goal, break it into a clear next action, clamp that action before you spend hours checking messages or social media. A man becomes stronger when progress exists outside romance. On the fourth day, rebuild emotional control. Notice the moment you feel rejected, jealous, or afraid. Do not immediately act, wait, breathe. Write what you want to say. Ask whether the message is communication or a request for reassurance. Respond only when you can speak without attacking, begging, or manipulating. On the fifth day, rebuild standards. Write what mutual respect looks like: clear communication, consistency, honesty, reciprocity, faithfulness. Emotional availability. Then write what you will do when those standards are repeatedly violated, not what you will force her to do. What you will do. That is the difference between a boundary and control. On the sixth day, practice real presence. When someone speaks, listen. Put the phone down. Ask a thoughtful question. Pay attention to details. Do not perform empathy. Practice it. The quality that makes a person unforgettable is often how deeply others feel seen around them. On the seventh day, make one promise to yourself that will continue for the next 30 days: a training schedule, a work block, a spending limit, a reading habit, a sleep routine, a communication rule. Keep it. Self respect grows when your actions prove that your word can be trusted. That is the foundation of confidence. Now, what if she has already left? Do not turn this video into a strategy for getting her back. Do not rebuild yourself while secretly watching for her reaction. Do not make every achievement a message aimed at her. That still places her at the center. Build because your future needs a stronger man. She may notice, she may compare, she may become curious, she may reach out, or she may never return. Your growth must survive every outcome. If she reaches out, stay calm. Do not announce that she finally realized she could not replace you. Do not punish her. Do not become arrogant. If she says, I miss you, you can say, I appreciate your honesty. What made you reach out? Then listen. If she says she wants another chance, do not rush back because your ego feels repaired. Ask what changed. Ask what she understands now. Share what you learned. Watch behavior. Does she communicate clearly? Does she take responsibility? Does she respect your boundaries? Does she remain consistent after learning that you still care? Trust should grow through evidence, not through one emotional conversation. The mistake men make when a woman recognizes their value is abandoning the new version of themselves to recover the old relationship. They immediately become overly available. They cancel routines. They stop focusing. They return to chasing because relief makes them afraid of losing her again. Do not do that. If the connection returns, your life must remain intact. Your direction continues. Your standards remain. Your emotional control remains. Your growth continues. The relationship should meet the man you became, not erase him. And what if she does not return? Then your life still improves. You become healthier, more disciplined, more dependable, more emotionally grounded, more selective, more capable of building a stable relationship with someone who chooses you clearly. That is not failure. The deepest transformation is when her reaction stops determining whether your growth was worthwhile. Do not become bitter. Do not treat every new woman like she must prove she will never leave. Do not hide your feelings. Do not create jealousy tests. Do not use emotional distance as power. The lesson is not that love makes men weak. The lesson is that love without identity makes men unstable. You can remain open, warm, affectionate, loyal, generous. But now your love has structure. Your generosity has judgment. Your patience has limits. Your loyalty requires reciprocity. Your life has direction. That is the kind of man whose absence feels different, not because he manipulated someone into dependence, because his presence contained qualities that were real. He listened. He followed through. He remained steady. He created safety without losing strength. He showed affection without begging. He had standards without cruelty. He kept growing. He made the relationship meaningful without making it his entire identity. That combination is rare. So stop trying to become the man she cannot replace. Become the man you cannot afford to abandon. Build a life you respect. Build a word that carries weight. Build emotional control. Build meaningful standards. Build direction. Learn to understand another person without disappearing inside them. Love without begging. Guide without keeping score. Walk away without revenge when respect is gone, and stay present when the connection deserves your effort. For she may meet other men, some may be more attractive, some may have more money, some may appear more exciting. But character cannot be measured through comparison. The way a person feels understood, respected, safe, challenged, and supported inside a healthy connection leaves a deeper memory than performance. You cannot control whether she remembers. You cannot control whether she returns. You cannot control whom she chooses, but you can control the quality of man you become. And once you understand that, replacement stops being your greatest fear. Because even if somebody leaves, you do not lose the qualities you built. You carry them forward. That is your real value. The man she cannot easily replace is not obsessed with occupying her mind. He is occupied with leading his life. He is not terrified of competition. He knows relationships are choices, not trophies. He does not force loyalty. He watches whether it is freely given. He does not demand appreciation. He places his energy where appreciation exists. He does not chase someone who remains uncertain forever. He offers clarity and requires clarity in return. He can love deeply because he knows he will not abandon himself, become that man, not to trap her, not to defeat another man, not to prove that she made a mistake. Become him because your future deserves someone stronger, calmer, wiser, and more dependable than the version of you who needed another person's attention to feel complete. And in the next video, you will learn the 7 behaviors that quietly make a woman lose respect for a man, even when she still has strong feelings for him.